Inside every answer that you get inside of an application, there's a lot of hidden truth behind it. So you have to be strategic with the questions you ask, because you're actually not only looking for the answer, but you're looking at how they answer the answer. So when I ask, like, how much another debt do you have besides a mortgage? I'm listening to how much pain they have, but also figuring out who I'm talking to. They're going to respond a few ways. So number one, they're going to say, we got about 30 grand in credit card debt. They say it fast. And that tells me he knows his numbers. But if he says, I don't know, I think then I know that there's another party involved. And especially if he says think, more than likely he doesn't really know. If you handle the finances in your household, you know the numbers. It's just something that kind of rules your life. But if they're spot on, they give you exact numbers right away, then you're talking to the right person, because they're going to be able to give you all the emotional tie behind the result that they want. So one of the good questions, I think, to answer your question is, what are some good questions to ask up front? Anything that's open-ended is what gets them talking, because you're going to hear certain things about them. You're going to hear their demeanor, if they're confident, the way they talk, right? Because it's kind of like knowing what their job title is. Like if they're a manager, they talk a specific way, right? But if they're customer service, they talk a specific way. If a nurse doesn't talk the same way as an executive. One is more caretaking, one is more authoritative. And because of that, they're used to being responded to in a certain way. And I don't want to go too deep on you to get you more confused and you'd be like, oh shit, what the, right? Like, how do I respond to all this? So in the bare minimum, you want to get them talking so you can hear a few things. One, the environment that they're in, like here in the background, you're hearing their tonality, and you're hearing certain words that they say, like I want versus I need. I would like to see versus I want to hear. They're telling you how they interpret information and their preferences. So if they say, hey Matt, I want to see what you guys have to offer. Yeah, let me show you. Make sense? So now it's like, okay, I'm on their level. I'm at their preference. You know what? I want to hear what your rate is. Okay, well, check this out. Listen. And then go into it, right? There's all kinds of different little hacks, but I guess at the end of the day, what you're doing right now in your point of your career is you're just getting comfortable with the conversation. So don't overthink it, because fortunately you work with a company that gives you a mass amount of leads. And there's never anything wrong with you calling back later if you miss information, right? If anything, you're actually building rapport, because then they feel like they talked to you before, or they talked to you 3 or 4 times before you actually pitched the deal, right? Like, oh yeah, this is Matt. He knows my number, right? They almost know your number. They know your name, which is a helpful thing. So that should help alleviate a lot of the anxiety that you have on the phone call.
Connected to SalesRemastered.